Hello, you're watching Afghanews with Mohsen Jamal. Afghanistan Thursday stepped up its security in the relatively peaceful western city of Herat province as international security assistance force troops have handed security responsibility to Afghan forces. Soldiers from the Afghan National Army carried out checks on people and cars in the province as part of the transition process. The Taliban has threatened to disrupt the handover across the country with various military attacks which would put to at the test whether Afghanistan is ready to take control of its security. North Atlantic Treaty Alliance is building up the Afghan army and police with the aim that foreign combat troops can withdraw from Afghanistan completely by the end of 2014. After Bamyan, Laghman and Helmand, Herat is the fourth region to host the transition ceremony and to launch the transition of power to Afghan security forces. The United States Army's outgoing commander in Afghanistan said on Wednesday the rise in insurgent attacks in past months revealed how fragile and irreversible peacekeepers' recent successes have been. General David Petraeus, who is due to take over as the new head of the CIA, said that despite gains in violence in other provinces during his year in charge, recent attacks have shown the Taliban-led insurgency is still far from quelled. Speaking at the Forum for New Diplomacy in Paris, France on Wednesday, Petraeus stressed the fragile nature of gains made by NATO forces. Petraeus also spoke about U.S. cooperation and counter-terrorism in Pakistan, saying that however difficult the relationship might be, it is one that they needed to continue to work. The general added he believed that Pakistan wanted to eliminate the Al-Qaeda presence in the Pakistani Taliban presence, but that they faced an internal extremist threat. A new report says Afghan President Hamid Karzai has banned U.S. Treasury advisors from the country's central bank, where they had been working to prevent the flow of money from getting into the wrong hands. The audit by the U.S. Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, which was released Wednesday, says the ban has been in place since May and is just one of several examples of the Afghan government's lack of cooperation on international efforts to improve Afghanistan's financial sector. The report adds the U.S. Treasury has no plans to re-engage at Afghanistan's central bank because working conditions for the U.S. advisors have become hostile. Acting Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction Harbour Richardson said Wednesday the United States has poured billions of dollars into a country plagued by corruption, insurgency, and the narcotics trade, adding that it is essential to use all available tools to ensure that U.S. dollars are protected from fraud and diversion to the insurgency. A powerful earthquake killed at least 14 people in Central Asia's densely populated Farghana Valley on Wednesday, destroying homes in remote mountain towns and sending people onto the streets in panic. People on either side of the border between Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan reported prolonged violent shaking in the early hours of the morning that cracked the walls of their homes. The U.S. Geological Survey measured the quake at magnitude 6.1. The valley straddles Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and is the most densely populated part of Central Asia, a strategic and earthquake-prone region between Russia, China and Afghanistan. Muammar Gaddafi could stay in Libya if he gives up power, France has said is signaling a new effort to find a diplomatic solution to a conflict that has so far failed to topple the Libyan leader. French Foreign Minister Alain Diop told local media that foreign powers were now ready to let Gaddafi stay in Libya if he stepped down. However, Gaddafi's foreign minister swiftly dismissed the French proposal, saying Gaddafi's departure after 41 years in power was not a matter for discussion. This comes as on Wednesday at least 18 anti-Gaddafi forces were killed and up to 150 wounded in fighting for the eastern oil hub of Brega, a town they must capture if they are to advance towards Tripoli. Troops commanded by Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's brother have surrounded the Damascus suburb of Harasta residency. The move appears to be part of an ongoing crackdown on urban centers that have experienced protests on a daily basis. Syrian troops also swept through the central city of Homs, arresting armed men and confiscating stockpiles of weapons, reports said on Wednesday. In another development, Walid Ma'alem, the Syrian foreign minister, cautioned the French and U.S. ambassadors against traveling outside Damascus after they both visited Hama earlier this month. Robert Ford and Eric Chevalier, respectively. The US and the French ambassadors visited Hama on July 7th amid repeated large demonstrations in the city against Assad. Egypt's Council of Military Rulers will not allow international monitors to observe upcoming parliamentary elections, a council member has said. Major General Mamdouh Shaheen, who presented the new election law to reporters on Wednesday, said burying foreign monitors was a necessary step to protect Egypt's sovereignty. Egyptian election monitors will observe the process instead, he said. The decision was swiftly criticized by activists who said it raises questions about the transparency of the first elections after the toppling of Hosni Mubarak and urged the military to reconsider. The new law also lowers the minimum age for candidacy for the lower house from 30 to 25, but candidates for the upper house must be at least 35 years old, and a newly elected president will appoint 100 of the body's 390 members. Meanwhile, a new Egyptian cabinet is expected to be announced on Thursday. Germany and France have reached a common position on a second bailout of Greece in their effort to prevent the country's debt crisis from spreading through Europe. The accord came after 7 hours of talks late into Wednesday night between the German Chancellor and the French President in Berlin, sources in both governments said on Thursday. The details of the common position were not revealed, but the French delegation said it would include a contribution to the Greek bailout by Europe's banking sector. The Franco-German accord will now be presented to a summit in Brussels on Thursday of all 17 leaders of the single currency area to address the Greek crisis. And that Western nations clashed with Russia in developing countries on Wednesday over whether climate change was a security matter meriting the attention of the Security Council, the most powerful UN body. Diplomats said Russia initially blocked the adoption of a statement on the issue by the 15-nation council, but later agreed to a revised, weakly worded text that spoke of the possible security implications of climate change. The dispute came as the Council formally debated the environment for the first time in 4 years and followed dire warnings by UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon that global warming was speeding up with unpredictable consequences. In the debate called by Germany, this month's Council President, Western speakers said increasing aridity caused by climate change had contributed to conflicts in Sudan's Darfur region and in Somalia, where the United Nations said famine had hit 2 areas. And that's all for now. Thanks for staying with us.